guys, it's Dawn from Seasonal Designs. Today I'm standing on the outside of my greenhouse because we are going to plant up these beastly urns that are sitting here in front of me. I've had my eye on these for some time now, but I never really thought we had the right place to put them until the greenhouse was finished. And now I think this would be the perfect location for both of these urns. They're incredibly heavy. They are made of cast stone. They probably weigh about 300 and some pounds a piece. I'm not gonna lie, they were pretty difficult to get into this location. I had nothing to do with that. But these, being as thick and heavy as they are, really, you're not gonna be able to move these inside in the winter and back outside. Plus, they're gorgeous, and I want to use them for all seasons, including winter. What I'm gonna do, because here in Wisconsin, we tend to have these freeze-thaw cycles that happen, I'm afraid that if I put dirt in this and it gets wet and then we get that freeze-thaw, that it could potentially crack these. Now, as thick as they are, I'm pretty skeptical on whether or not that would really happen, but because this is my first season with them, I really want to play it safe. Let's talk about materials and my thought process on what I'm going to be doing for this container. I came up with a little bit different way to do this. What I'm going to be sticking my greens and my twigs and everything in is going to be this piece of styrofoam. This is going to sit in the center of my container. In order to anchor this down, I'm going to be using a piece of rebar. This rebar is going to sink all the way into the hole in the center of my container, all the way down through the base. And then that piece of styrofoam is going to fit on the top of this, and that is going to keep this from moving around in my container. Now, I have already put together one container because I needed to make sure that my idea was going to work, and it actually has withstood a pretty significant windstorm already. So I'm happy to say that so far it's working quite well. The other materials that I'm going to be using are some red twig dogwoods, as well as these bright red twigs that I found. And I thought these would be fabulous because they really tie in to my bright red berry that I have used in the other containers around our property. So we kind of tie these in together. The other thing I'm going to be using is actually a faux magnolia. Now, I have used real magnolia, and what I find here in Wisconsin is that it's so cold and dry that they dry out very quickly and become quite brittle and quite light. I want something that is maybe going to weigh down that piece of styrofoam a little bit, and these are a little bit bottom heavy, and this is going to stick right into the styrofoam and kind of go around as a filler. Right below that, I am going to actually use another faux item, which is this green, and it's nice and skinny. I'm going to hide essentially the legs of my magnolia. And then from there, the rest of it I am going to fill in with real items, this beautiful cedar, as well as some Frazier. Let's talk about how this piece was created. So this came in a big square. And what we did is we placed the big square on top of this and kind of marked where we needed to take away some of the material. And then slowly but surely, a little bit at a time, you need to cut this into the shape, really kind of a tapered shape, so that it fits into this bowl. spit it once so I can see. The way I'm going to do this is I am going to fill up a lot of the top of this while it is sitting on the ground, because it is a bit firmer sitting on the ground than sitting in the urn when I start pushing some of the larger pieces into this. And that way I know I won't crack this or break this. So the first thing I'm going to add are my red twig dogwoods. And I'm gonna mark kind of a spot that looks to be about the center where that dowel is gonna come through. I'm not gonna put anything in that area. And I'm gonna simply start pushing these in. Next up, we're going to add the Magnolia. So next up, I'm going to add the red berries that I have. And you're going to want to kind of space these out a little bit in between the Magnolia. And again, you're going to want to push them all the way through both layers. So here's my first one, like such. And I only have 4 of these, so I am going to space these out accordingly, and you can kind of put them about where you think they should be and then go ahead and push them right in. Same as we did for the Magnolia, pushing them all the way in to the styrofoam, to both levels of the styrofoam. All right, let me turn this towards you. So I think on my next one, I'm going to put about right here. And again, I'm just sticking this all the way in. And then we're really ready for the next layer. And that is the greens. And I'm going to use the greens to fill in right along the base, right in here. Piece of rebar is going to fit all the way down this hole. There's a piece of metal in here that is in the base, and then this bowl sits on top of that. This allows for drainage, and it also allows me to use a piece of rebar, and my styrofoam is going to fit right on the top of that, and that is going to hold it in place. Yep, perfect. Well, we're back 2 days later. Family time and Thanksgiving kind of snuck up on me. 2 days ago when I was working on this, it was 40 degrees. Today it's 23, so that's why I'm all bundled up. But there is no wind and the sun is starting to peek out a little bit, so it's really not that bad. The next thing we are going to do is cut up my greens, because if you remember, I said I wanted to make sure that we could see this beautiful urn. I didn't want anything flopping over the edge. So a lot of these, as you can see, are way too big. So I'm going to start working on cutting these up into smaller pieces so I can start sticking them into the floral foam. So I want to show you kind of how I'm cutting this apart. I'm taking it right down here so that I can use both pieces of these. So I'm going to cut off right in the kind of crotch of this branch, just like this. And then I can use this piece, but I can also use this piece. And then for these pieces that are kind of big, I'm just going to try to make them into a point, kind of just like that. You can make them a little smaller. You can cut off the little pieces at the bottom so that it is a little slimmer and a little pointier, and it goes in a little easier. So I'm taking my greens and I'm just starting to fill in. Now that it's nice and full, I'm going to get the cedar added, and I want to show you the cut close up. Do you see how I cut that on an angle? And that is gonna, I'd probably pull this guy off, and that is gonna allow this to just stick right into the foam, the styrofoam or the floral foam, really easy without ripping it to shreds. And I really love this. It just adds kind of a lime green with these little yellow tips on it. I think this cedar is so pretty. And I'm just going to kind of space this out all the way around my container so that I have a little bit of it everywhere. And it's also good if you're making a pair of these to make sure you take a look at your other ones so that they kind of have the same shape. So if you have maybe slightly longer pieces here, or maybe a heavier front, whatever the case may be, that they match. Let's add the rest of these really bright red twigs that I have. These are just sticks that were painted this really pretty bright red. I think that this will pop. So I'm just going to add the rest of these in. And I do like to add these at the end because it gives me a chance to just kind of take a look at the entire shape and just kind of put them where I think we need a little something. And I think I need to go right in between this guy here. And I'm adding just a natural pine cone. And these are really easy to make. You can, if you have pine cones, you drill just a little hole in the bottom here, put a little hot glue from a hot glue gun, stick in a stake with a pointy tip, and put them in. Otherwise, you can also buy these. And that's just a lot easier. Next up are the lights. Let me show you how these work. These just have 3 settings. The first one is on, the second one is timer, and the third time you hit it is off. At about 4:30 tonight, I'm gonna come on out here and I'm gonna turn these on the second setting, which is timer. These will be on for 6 hours and then they'll be off for 18. And they come on and off automatically once you get them into the second position. I'm putting 3 strands of lights on this. So I am just going to weave in 2 strands of these green lights around my greens here. The last strand of little twinkle lights, I'm going to kind of mess up, essentially, get them in like a little bit of a mess. And these I put right in the center at the top, and then they will just kind of have a soft twinkle. So what do you guys think? Aren't they just gorgeous? I just think these containers are in the perfect location, and I love the way they turned out. I think this place is going to be absolutely gorgeous in spring after we get it landscaped and everything, and I hope to be able to share that with you. But today, I hope I gave you some good ideas and alternative ways to put together winter containers. By using styrofoam, you've probably cut the weight of your container in half because you don't have all of that dirt in there. So if you were to put that in a different container, you could even potentially bring that into your home. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday. I want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.